Hi there and welcome. My name is Aaron Harrington and I am super glad that you took a few moments of your time today to watch the content that we have here for you, and I hope it helps your business out. I was one of the top real estate agents in the United States, and now I'm channeling everything that I learned into helping new and upcoming real estate agents and those real estate agents that are struggling out there as well. Let's be totally real for a second here. I'm making these videos to get exposure from my coaching company. And yes, I make money through coaching fees. But here's the truth. There's not one single person in real estate who, if they stuck up their hand right now and said, I need help, then I'm not going to give 20 minutes to free of charge. Why? Because it takes an immense amount of courage to raise your hand and say, I need help. And I want to recognize that. So if you're struggling right now, maybe you're running out of money. Maybe you're even thinking about getting another job. Don't waste another second. Click on the link below to get on my calendar. It's totally free to get on my calendar for 20 minutes. And at the end of my life, if somebody was to come back around to me 15, 20 years down the road and say, Aaron, that 20 minutes that we had on the phone, it kept me in the game. It got me headed in the right direction. I made a ton of money and I totally transformed my life. That would mean everything to my life. So get on my calendar if you need help. If you're not ready for that conversation yet, then no problem. Stick around. Let's watch the excerpt here and get you some valuable real estate information about building a great real estate business. The full class, which is available to you free in the links below, runs about 2 hours. I just put it together. It's awesome. It's everything that I had plus what I learned along my journey to help you grow and go faster. So once you start seeing success and you've built your business to a place where you can afford a coach, I'm hopeful and confident that you'll consider me. So without further ado, let's dive into today's topic. Let's talk about gold time. In gold time, we do a lot of calling. Some of you may not like to call. That's okay, but I want to give you a story. I met a woman one time who got into real estate. And her previous job before real estate, she was a caller for a dating service. And she would literally call men straight out of the phone book for this dating service. She got into real estate and she took her calling skills into real estate with her. No fear, call anybody, talk to anybody. She made over $9 million in 1 year selling real estate. So you might not like talking on the phone, but talking on the phone is very powerful. And it's a lot more rewarding than calling people blindly out of the phone book for a dating service. You can make a lot of money with great phone skills. I want to talk about a couple of different basic phone calls that we make and how those can help you with your career. Let's get started. Let's jump into this. Number one, the number one reason we call people is to deepen the relationship. So we're going to use a process called FORD. No, not Ford the truck or car. This is FORD, the acronym for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. If you ever get stuck in a conversation, you can go into Ford, pick a letter, get into that topic, and get the conversation going. Family. How's the family doing? How are the kids? Still playing soccer? Family. Occupation. Men love to talk about occupation. Women usually love to talk about family. Keep that in the back of your head. Occupation. How are you enjoying your career? How's work going? How are things coming along? Get into occupation. If you've already talked about family, occupation would be the next theme to discuss. If you make a phone call on this and you take the FORD acronym as your blueprint, don't try and touch on all of these. Pick one. A phone call should only last 5 to 7 minutes. That's it. Tops. You call somebody and you make it a 20, 30 hour long phone call. The next time they see your number come up on the caller ID, you probably won't be talking to them ever again. So people's time is very important. Keep it short. Recreation. think that's a pretty self-explanatory topic. Dreams. If somebody's willing to share their dreams with you, that is a very good sign that they feel comfortable with you. And that is also a very deepening question. So if you can ever get to the point where you can ask somebody about what do they dream about in life, that is a very powerful question. So, number one intention on a phone call, deepen the relationship. Early on, when you're calling them for the first or second time, all you're doing is deepening the relationship. However, we do need to qualify the relationships, but remember, deepening the relationship is very, very, very important. So this is the most important part of building a real estate business by relationship. This is what we call qualifying the relationship. There are a lot of people that know how to do this and don't do it. There's a lot of people that have a hang up with it, and so they don't get into it. And in return, they waste so much time with people that already have an allegiance to another real estate agent. We have to get over that fear and be completely okay if somebody in our relationships has another real estate agent that they would refer to, that they have an allegiance to, that they want to give loyalty to. And we have to honor that. That is phenomenal. I love that a person that I know has an allegiance to another real estate agent and they're willing to keep it. That shows me the character of the person. So we need to qualify our relationships in our database. Some point in the conversation in your first or second phone call, definitely before you ever do a pop-by to their place of work, we need to qualify the relationship. Qualification goes something like this. We've already broken the ice in the conversation. We're maybe at the 3, 4, 5 minute mark in the conversation, and we need to hit them with it. And it goes like this. Hey, just curious, if someone you knew needed a realtor, is there someone you usually think of or refer to them to? The answer to this question will either put this relationship in they're qualified and they're going to send the people to me, or no, they're not qualified and they would send them to somebody else. If they are qualified, that counts as one of our 50 relationships of the 300 that's qualified. But we have to ask the question. And so many people get lost in fear in asking the qualifying question. Another way you could ask it would be, I always appreciate referrals. It means a lot coming from friends. I was just wondering, do you already have someone you typically send people to when they mention real estate stuff? If they say, no, I would send them to you. I really appreciate how hard you're working, and I see that you're really dedicated to this. I would send them your way. Great. I would take great care of them. If there's anybody that you need help with, just send me the name and phone number, and I'll get right on it. That's exactly how you respond. But you got to ask the question. I remember early on when I was building my real estate business, I was a little apprehensive to ask this question or a variation of this question. And I had a past commercial insurance agent that I really liked, and we liked each other. We always got along on the phone great. He did a great job when I used his services. I admired him. And so for weeks, I'd stop by his business, do a little pop-by, take him a little box of chocolates, some caramel corn when it was Oscars night, bottle of wine. I think I was maybe 4, 5, 6 times that I'd pop by his place of work, and I just thought to myself, what do I got to lose? And I said, Mike, I'm just curious. If you knew somebody that needed a realtor, is there somebody that you usually refer to? And he said, Aaron, my sister's in the business. If I didn't refer to my sister, I would get killed. And I walked out of there. And at that day, I realized the power of this question and qualifying relationships. I wasted so many hours going by Mike's place of work. And after I made that decision, I was going to qualify all the relationships in my database. I quit wasting time, and my income really started to head in the right direction. So I want you to remember my Mike situation and qualify your relationships so you don't end up stopping by somebody's place of work or home 6, 8, 10 times and then finding out that their next door neighbor put their house on the market with the daughter of the relationship you have. You've got to do the qualification. This is what you get paid to do. This is the bread and butter of running a by referral business. Another way you could ask, have any of your friends or coworkers mentioned moving or mentioned real estate lately? I love helping people even just with advice. And they may say, no, they haven't. And if they did, I'd probably send them to my Aunt Beth, who works the area. If you hear that, obviously they have an allegiance to somebody else, in which case that relationship is not qualified. So we have to move on. Another way you could ask, hi, I'm just curious, if someone new reached out to you for advice with real estate, do you have a real estate person to send them to? And if they said no, I'd send them to you, then that is a qualified relationship. We need 50 qualified relationships in 6 months. 300 new relationships, 50 qualified relationships. If you hit those numbers, you are going to blow up. You're going to make a lot of money. Just need to follow the plan. So the answer to the qualifying question determines the path forward with the relationship. So you popped the big question, the qualifying question, not the will you marry me question. I've done that. So you pop the question and they answer, no, I don't have anybody. I would send them to you. Then you're going to reply with, I'd be honored to serve anyone who needs help. There's no greater gift than a referral. Out of curiosity, each month I send out some real estate market information that I find interesting. Would you like to get that? And they're going to respond, sure, I'd love to get that. Then that's your opportunity to get their address and mailing information. And you would ask, okay, great, where would you like me to send that? Oh, my email address is da-da-da-da-da. Oh, sorry, no, I send that in the mail. What's your mailing address? Oh, it's 123 B Street. Great. So now you've got the address, you've got the phone number, and you've got the email address, and the relationship is qualified. This is a good relationship that you need to focus on in your database. And these 50 people get all the love from you. If they answer oppositely, well, my sister's in real estate, so I probably have to send the referral to her. Then you're going to reply very courteously and commendably, I absolutely commend your loyalty. That is super admirable. If anything changes, I'm always happy to help. So we want to leave top class, lots of honor, and show them that you really admire their character. There you go. The two different ways that the question can end and how you approach the response after they answer the question. The next type of phone call that we make is what I refer to as educating the referrer. A lot of people don't know what to look for or the clues that they could be dealing with a referral. So we need to educate our relationships what a referral looks like. This is an art form. So let's discuss how this works. When you're having your conversation, you've already broken the ice, you're going to ask the question, just out of curiosity, do you know the number one reason that people sell a home? I've asked this question a lot, by the way, and just about every time I get the same response, which is, no, I have no idea what the number one reason is people sell a home. New school? Sometimes they guess. And then you're going to educate them. Actually, the number one reason that people sell a home, unfortunately, is divorce. And if you hear of anybody that's thinking about getting divorced, I'm always willing to do a market analysis on their home for them and provide them the information that they need so that they can plan appropriately. Does that sound good? Great. So this is what's called educating the referrer. Unfortunately, a lot of people in our lives have to end relationships. And if our people that we're in relationship with know that when they hear of a relationship that may be going the wrong way, that it's time for you to know about that, we need to educate them. So this is a phone technique that's called educating the refer. I hope that you don't use this right out of the gate as your first phone conversation. You need to break the ice. You need to deepen the relationship. Then you need to qualify the relationship. After you've qualified the relationship and you are on good ground with the relationship, then you could do the education piece. But don't make it your first phone call. One of my favorite phone calls to make is the year-end free market analysis call. This is a super simple call, and it usually flushed out a couple new listings for the start of the new year to just get a couple new leads on the board so that we had a couple new listings going into the new year. It's a very simple phone call. It's an offer call. People love it. Not a lot of people say yes to it, but you can get a lot of information from these calls. So we're going to start out. Hi, how are you? How's the family? Everything's doing all okay? Great, great, great. Just break the ice. So then you're going to make the offer. The reason that I'm calling is because I'm doing a yearly property value analysis for all my clients, and I just wanted to see if that might be something that you might want me to do for you on your house. Would you be interested in that? And after you ask that question, you're going to get the information. No, I think we're good this year, but maybe we're going to think about moving towards the second half of next year. I think I might get a new job in a new area. If you hear that, that's what you want to hear. And then you're going to get permission to keep in touch with them so that you can stay abreast as to how those plans are progressing. That is a good lead, and it's a listing lead. So we want to make sure that we get that lead and it goes on to our lead tracker, and we're going to carry that lead forward each month. Now, other things that you could listen for. We're not going anywhere soon, but my friend John at work is thinking about selling his home in Cannerwood. Do you sell in Cannerwood? Of course I sell in Cannerwood. So here it's not that they're going to be selling, but they know somebody who is selling. So you've tickled their brain a little bit, and they thought, wow, this is a great service, but it's not necessarily for me, but I know somebody who it would be a good service for, and it would be John at work. So you want to get permission to reach out to John and offer him the free market analysis and put that together for John. That becomes another lead. So you can do yearly market analyses at the end of the year when you're an established real estate agent, or you can do them every week with people that are new in your database. This can be a very effective phone call any time of the year. I like to do it at the end of the year, starting for the new year when I was established. But for new agents, this can be your fifth, sixth phone call to a new relationship. So this is your yearly market analysis call, and that is the intention for the call, is to get the response to the question. Another simple call that I love to make, this is the lunch call. Lunches have to be pre-planned on our calendar. You saw in the schedule that I pre-plan 3 lunches a week. Sometimes I would pre-plan 5 lunches a week. When I'm making my calls to my relationships, I'm putting the lunches on the calendar for the following week. In the week that I'm in, the week's done. Trying to schedule things in that week is too difficult. I always plan out 1 week into the future. So let's dig into the phone call. You're going to simply start the call cordially. How are you? How's the family? Everybody's doing okay. Never make this call with a relationship that isn't qualified. Why? Because you're going to end up going to lunch with somebody that's not qualified who may have a real estate agent in the family that's they're going to use instead of you. So you have to do this call with people that are qualified. That is paramount. If you break this rule, I told you so. You're going to waste a lot of time and money. So you're going to get right into it. John, the reason that I'm calling is to invite you to lunch. I have some time available on Monday at 12 or Wednesday at 12. Notice there that I'm trying to put them into my schedule. Would either of those times work for you? I'd really like to hear more about your business. So I'm setting this up. I want to have lunch and I want to hear about your business. I'm not going to go there, shoot the bull for 45 minutes. I want to have lunch and I want to talk about business. Most of the time, you're going to be able to schedule these lunches with the people that you call if they answer the phone. Keys. You want to offer 2 time slots. Next, you're going to make a reservation at a restaurant that you know well. Maybe you even have a standing time there that you have an open table at. You don't want to make this an extravagant lunch. Just because the person lives in a $5 million home doesn't mean you have to eat at a Michelin restaurant. Keep it quaint and simple and affordable. You invited them, you're paying. So keep it quaint, keep it simple. Don't choose a place that has too much noise and you can't hear each other. That's annoying. Find a place you like. If you have an area that's significantly vast and hard to reach just one location, maybe you have a north location, an east location, a west location, a south location. I had an east and a west location, and if I did lunch on the east side, I try to do all my lunches on the east side for that week. So plan out what places that you're going to use for lunch. Make sure that you got free parking, it's affordable, it's cute, it's quaint, the food's good, and that the experience is going to be what you want. The lunch lasts 45 to 50 minutes and it's over. No 2-hour lunches, no hour-and-a-half lunches. Don't go over the time. You need to put on an aura around you that you're busy, you're moving, you're shaking. You got to get to the next thing. Time is money. You got a lot going on. People need you. You need to bring that energy with you. If you sit there for 2 hours like you got nothing going on, they're going to have a hesitancy in referring you out. Finally, at the lunch, no drinking alcohol. I don't want that to get away from you. I don't want it to ruin the rest of your day. I don't want it to ruin your momentum. No drinking. People don't like a good drunk. My grandfather used to say that. So, stay off the alcohol, make it a good lunch. That's the lunch call, and that's some tips around doing a lunch. All right, so we've talked a lot about phone skills here and calling skills. Remember, you got to have an intention. You got to have a purpose for the call. You got to have that set up before you go into the call. Don't just call and chit-chat. They'll never answer the phone again, and they will not take you seriously as a professional. You've got to have a reason for the call. No call lasts longer than 5 minutes. I have a little hourglass on my desk for a phone call. When the hourglass is done, I am done because I am an extreme extrovert and I can ramble on for hours. Not good. You might get a glass timer of your own. You want to block out all the distractions that you have to make these calls. This is your lifeblood making these calls. YouTube is not your lifeblood. Your social media is not your lifeblood. Scrolling is not your lifeblood. Swiping is not your lifeblood. You need to focus. Close the door on your office. Nobody comes in while you're making your phone calls. I don't want any devices open on your desk while you're making your calls. I want you to focus on the relationship. Show the relationship that it is important and that means a lot to you. If you do that, when they have a very important decision to make on who do they call to send a referral to, they're going to choose you. So block out everybody else's agendas and stay focused on your own. Thanks for sticking with me here today. If you like what you heard and you want to take the full 2-hour course, just click the link below in the description. And again, the class is free of charge. And in that course, I walk you through the exact techniques that I used to grow my database to over 3,800 relationships. And it helped me to build an income of over $1 million in net income in 1 year in real estate. And if you got any value out of today's video, can you please hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss any new material that I come out with here on YouTube. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.